Hello everybody, this is 42nd lecture for us with Mr. Haidar Qasir. Today we are answering Book 15, Academic, Test 3, Passage 1. It's about Henry Moore, 1898 to 1986. The British sculptor Henry Moore was a leading figure in the 20th century art. We have the questions from 1 to 7 are true false not given, and questions from 8 to 13 are gaps. 1 says, on leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. 2. Moore began studying sculpture in his first term of the Leeds School of Art. 3. When Moore started at the Royal College of Art, its reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent. 4. Moore became aware of ancient sculpture as a result of visiting London museums. 5. The Trocadero Museum's Mayan sculpture attracted a lot of public interest. 6. Moore thought the Mayan sculpture was similar in certain respects to other stone sculptures. And 7, the last one, the artists who belonged to Unit 1 wanted to make modern art and architecture more popular. Then we have the gaps 1930s, 1940s and 1950s. 30s from 30 to 59, 40s from 40 to 49 and 50s from 50 to 59. But we don't have to do the 50s because it's already done. I mean, there is no gap about it. Okay, let's see. Henry Moore was born in Castleford, a small town near Leeds in the north of England. He was the seventh child of Raymond Moore and his wife, Mary Baker. He studied at Castleford Grammar School from 1909 to 1915, where his early interest in art was encouraged by his teacher, Alice Gostick. After leaving school, we come here. Or leaving school, number 1. After leaving school, we look for the answer here. Moore hoped to become a sculptor, but instead he complied with his father's wish that he train as a school teacher. Number 1 says, on leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. True, because he complied with his father's wish. So number 1 is true. Number 2, Moore began studying sculpture in his first term of the Leeds School of Art. Let's move to the next paragraph. After the war, Moore enrolled at the Leeds School of Art, where he studied for 2 years. In his first year, he spent most of his time drawing. So, number 2 says Moore began studying sculpture, but here it says he spent most of his time drawing in his first year, so it gives wrong information. Number 2 will be wrong. Number 3, when Moore started at the Royal College of Art, its reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent. Let's go on with this one. Although he wanted to study sculpture, no teacher was appointed until his second year. At the end of that year, he passed the sculpture examination and was awarded a scholarship to the Royal College of Art in London. In September 1921, he moved to London and began 3 years of advanced study in sculpture. I see nothing about the reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent or not. So in this case, it will be not given. Number 3. Okay, number 4 says, Moore became aware of ancient sculpture as a result of visiting London museums. Let's see. Alongside the instruction he received at the Royal College, Moore visited many of London museums, practically the British Museum, which had a wide-ranging collection of ancient sculpture. During these visits, he discovered the power of the beauty of ancient Egyptian and African sculpture. Okay, number 4, Moore became aware of ancient sculpture. When it says here, he discovered the power and beauty of ancient African and Egyptian and African sculpture. So in this case, it will be true because it's as a result of visiting the museums in London. Number 5. The Trocadero Museum's Mayan sculpture attracted a lot of public interest. Let's see the next paragraph. After graduating, Mo spent the first 6 months of 1925 traveling in France. When he visited the Trocadero Museum in Paris, he was impressed by a cast of a Mayan sculpture of the rain spirit. Okay, number 5 talks about people's public interest. That means people's interest, but here it says about his interest. So we don't know whether the people were interested in it or not. So in this case, it will be not given because we cannot tell whether it's true or false. Okay, 6. Mo thought the Mayan sculpture was similar in certain respects to other stone sculptures. Let's see. It was a mere reclining figure with its knees drawn up together and its head at a right angle to its body. Mo became fascinated with this stone sculpture, which he thought had a power and originally that no other stone sculpture possessed. Number 6. Mo thought that the Mayan sculpture was similar and certain, and here it says no other stone sculpture possessed. So in this case it will be false. Number 7. The artists who belong to Unit 1. Okay, now we come to the end of this paragraph. We move to the other one to look for Unit 1. I mean the artists of Unit 1. Mo's exceptional talent soon gained recognition, and in 1926 he started work as a sculpture instructor at the Royal College. In 1933 he became a member of a group of young artists called Unit 1. Okay, here we see. The aim of the group was to convince the English public of the merits of the emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. The artists who belonged to Unit 1 wanted to make modern art and architecture more popular. And it says here, they wanted to convince English people. That means they wanted something to be popular. Of the merits of the emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. So, number 7 will be true. So, in this case, let me repeat the answers. Number 1 true, 2 false, 3 not given, 4 true, 5 not given, 6 false, 7 true. Okay, let's come to the gaps. In 1930s, Mo's exhibition of the Leicester galleries is criticized by the press. Mo is urged to offer his gap and leave the Royal College. Let's see. Let's move to the other paragraph. Around this time, Mo moved away from the human figure to experiment with abstract shapes. In 1931, okay, we come to the 30s, he held an exhibition of the Leicester galleries in London. His work was enthusiastically welcomed by fellow sculptors, but the reviews in the press were extremely negative and turned Mo into a notorious figure. There were calls, that means they urged him, calls, they advised him, they pushed him to do something, for his resignation from the Royal College. Okay, let's see. Mo is urged to offer his gap and leave the Royal College. So they urged him, or there were calls for his resignation. Number 8 will be resignation, because it says in the question choose one word only, so it will be resignation. In 1940s, we move to the 40s. So we leave the following paragraph, this paragraph, the following paragraph, and we move to the last paragraph here. We still have 3 other paragraphs, by the way. Okay. Mo turns to drawing because gap for sculpting are not readily available. Are not readily available. That means there is a lack of something. Let's see. In 1940, during the Second World War, Moore stopped teaching at the Chelsea School and moved to a farmhouse about 20 miles north of London. A shortage of materials forced him to focus on drawing. Okay, it says Moore turns to drawing because gap for sculpting are not readily available, a shortage of, a lack of are not available. So in this case we have materials, because it says a shortage of materials, that means they are not available, they were not available. So in this case number 9 will be materials. Let's see number 10. While visiting his hometown, Moore does some drawings of gap. Let's go on with the paragraph to see if we find this answer here. He did numerous small sketches of London, later turning these ideas into large colored drawing in his studio. In 1942 he returned to Castleford, where he was born, that means his hometown, to make a series of sketches of the miners who worked there. So let's see the answer. While visiting his hometown, Moore does some drawing of miners. The answer will be miners. Sketches, a series of sketches. Okay, that means a series of drawings. So in this case, number 10 will be miners. Let's move on. 11 says, Moore is employed to produce a sculpture of a gap. In 1944, Harlow, a town near London, offered Moore a commission. Offered, that means employed. A commission to do something, to produce something here. A sculpture of a gap. Let's see. A commission for a sculpture, yes, depicting a family, of a family. So 11 will be family. 12, gap, start to buy Moore's work. Let's go on. The resulting work signifies a dramatic change in Moore's style away from the experimentation of the 1930s towards a more natural and humanistic subject matter. He did dozens of studies in clay for the sculpture, and these were cast in bronze and issued in editions of 7 to 9 copies each. In this way, Moore's work became available to collectors all over the world. Available, that means they can see, they can buy, they can watch. Okay, let's see. Gap, start to buy Moore's work. So in this case, collectors, because it says became available to collectors, that means they can buy. So 12 will be collectors. Let's see 13. Moore's increased gap makes it possible for him to do more ambitious sculpture. Let's go on with this one. All over the world. The boost means to increase something. The boost to his income enabled him to take on ambitious projects. The boost of what? That means the increase of what? Income in this case. So in this case, 8 will be resignation, 9 materials, 10 miners, 11 family, 12 collectors, and 13 income. Thank you for watching this lecture. Please, if you liked it, press the button of subscribe. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. If you have any criticism, write it in the comments too. Thanks for watching. That was Mr. Haidar Kasir with you. Thank you.